Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Patrick Liu. I'm a second year student physical therapist and welcome to the Diabetes Management Group. Before we get started on today's topic of 3 tips on how to survive a road trip with type 2 diabetes, I wanted to share a story of my reasoning for sharing my tips and the things that I've learned. Before we get started with that too, I am parked. I am not driving, so always practice safety first. So when I was 8 years old and I was living in southern Utah and working in my family's restaurant, we generally take trips on the weekend to go to Las Vegas to pick up authentic Chinese vegetables and any other supplies and equipment that we needed for our restaurant. And generally we take my grandparents with us so that they can enjoy any of the festivities that is going on at Vegas. And if you didn't know, my grandpa, he died from chronic kidney failure due to his type 2 diabetes. And that's why I'm passionate about sharing these experiences with y'all. And when we were driving through like southern Utah to get to Las Vegas, there's this area called the Gorge. So if any of y'all are in Nevada or in southern Utah who visit Las Vegas frequently, or in Arizona who visits Las Vegas frequently, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that turn and bend and the terrain that's over there and how windy it can get, that it gets scary sometimes, especially at night. So when we were driving across the roads and everything, we made it through the gorge, we thought we had a good clearway, we're doing fine and everything, until the semi truck that was right next to us started to fall asleep. So we were in the slow lane, they were in the fast lane, and they were just kind of tilting and turning, and my uncle, because a lot of us as family members who lived in that area, we tend to carpool to get to Vegas. He was forced to veer off the road because of the semi truck starting to fall asleep and kind of tilting on the side. So it came to the point where we drove out, and then the semi truck just woke themselves back up and kept on going straight. And for us, we veered across that road, popped a tire, and were stuck out there. And I think we probably didn't receive help for what seemed like multiple hours on end. So it was kind of like during the evening time, afternoon, whatever sorts of situation. Then it was kind of like getting a bit dark throughout. And it was pretty tough because we already ate all of our snacks. We were pretty much prepared to enter into Vegas, which would have taken probably about another hour or so and would have been fine. But since we were stranded for hours on end out there, I mean, probably 3 hours right out over there, we were stranded and didn't get any help. And I could just kind of notice that my grandpa, he wasn't feeling too well. And all of us in the car and everything, we were kind of freaked out. We were stressed. When's help gonna arrive? Because for the first hour, we thought, okay, the tow truck's gonna come any second now. And then the second hour, nothing. Third hour, we were getting pretty desperate on end because we're just we're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. It's getting a little bit windier. It's pretty dark, and we are very concerned. And with my grandpa not feeling all too well, it kind of terrified us. And we just weren't sure, oh, well, what can we do to help him out? We know he has diabetes, his blood sugars might be running a bit low, and how can we kind of help support him through that when we don't have any supplies laying around? So fortunately, the tow truck did arrive probably a bit sooner after the 3 hours and 15 or 3 hours and 30 mark. Can't exactly remember. But fortunately, they arrived. We were able to get back into a repair shop to get a new tire, get my grandpa some food to eat, and we were all good and set on the way there, fortunately. Because of that experience, life happens. Yeah, and you can't even predict those. And for us, we as kids, we're just huge munchers and everything. We just keep on eating the snacks and foods to keep ourselves entertained. Whenever a kid gets hungry in the car, of course, then it's well, it's hard not to feed them supplies and such. So the 3 tips that I wanted to share with y'all today is that can help those with type 2 diabetes survive while out on the road, it's going to be number one, make sure you have emergency snacks or supplies inside of your car. So in the event of an emergency, you can eat your food, keep your blood sugar regulated. If you have a continuous glucose monitor, make sure you check that frequently and regularly, and make sure you appropriately get whatever sugars that you need to build back up from the hypoglycemic value back up to a normal range. Or if you are higher up, then figuring out how much insulin you need to either lower it back down or try and have it in that optimal range that's good for you. Tip number 2, generally those with diabetes, prediabetes, or any forms of it can get pretty challenging when you have the frequent urge to go to the bathroom and pee. So if you are driving with somebody else, make sure you take the time to press the emergency signaling button if you need to use the bathroom, and drive off onto the side where it's a bit more safe, and you just do what you need to do. It's nature, and if you need someone to kind of like be on the lookout for you, go for it and do that. Just kind of do whatever you need to do to modify those urges you have. Or, I'm pretty controversial if I say that, if you're a guy and you're going on a road trip and everything, you may have a container that they did to try and check your urine flow. So that could be used on the road trips. Just make sure you keep a plastic bag, keep it all sanitary, or any sort of cups or things that you need to do. So if you need to go, then you have that covered through. That can cover the remarks on there. Tip number 3, if you get tired, or you know you're going to get tired due to the fatigue that you do have with diabetes, then it might be smart to try and plan out a gas station stop every hour and a half to 2 hours of your drive. And then you could utilize that to get moving, to keep yourself awake, or purchase some snacks, or whatever you need to do to keep yourself in the range to stay awake. And if that's not a feasible option and you're out there where none of the resources are available, then press the emergency lights and everything, slow down, go to the corner of the road where you're safe and everything, making sure no one's going to hit you. And like, if you need to sleep it out, sleep it out. It's better to take care of your health, be safe about it, and go from there than risk losing your life or having an emergency crisis that makes it worse. So thank you all for tuning in for this video. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, click that notification bell for updates about our upcoming videos and content, and share this video with anyone you think would be helpful for. Additionally, we have a private Facebook group that you can join in the comments down below, so you can learn more tips about how I survive with my prediabetes or reverse it, or the tips that I've learned from my life experiences with my grandpa who died from type 2 diabetes, on things that I wish I could have done to better serve his symptoms or the negative things that he has out on them. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.